this very often, honestly.
I really didn't want to go, but you made me, and I regretted it every day.
Yeah, you tell me that every day on the podcast. Really appreciate working with you every single time. Anyway, we have Secret versus Gambit here. Cinderman, of course, this is the... We call it a best of two. It's really just a two-game series because a best of is an odd number, but it just sounds better to say best of two.
It's just easier.
Yeah, we're just going to continue with that.
What was your prediction for this series? Was it Secret 2-0?
I don't remember. I think I flipped a coin, and then I just let that do the speaking for me. But no, we're going to see the Snapfire Cookie already used on Afterlife as Puppy gets a little stun action, but Matu's there to help ward off Afterlife. So the panel did talk about this briefly, but obviously Gambit has a couple of stand-ins, if you want to call them that, as Monaco and No One have switched teams for about the 20th time in the last 12 months. So there's a bit of a wild card here, no pun intended, since they are in the wild cards themselves as well. But what are you expecting from this team? It's just kind of like chaotic, as Jenkins was saying?
I think people might be sleeping a little bit on Laurenoff. I think this guy's really, really talented and very skilled. So I'm expecting a lot of him in this series. Haven't seen him too much on the big stage though, so we'll see when these games start mattering a lot if he's going to be able to stay on the level that we've seen in European pubs. He's a very snowbally player. He plays exceptionally well on heroes such as Tiny and Storm Spirit, and he got his Tiny in this game, and it's a good Tiny game. There's a lot of great targets. Like Jenkins pointed out, the matchup against Puck is good. Tiny has a lot of burst targets here. He can kill Rubik, he can kill Puck, he can kill the Bane, he can kill Spiderlings. There's just so many good things going his way. And BZZ, pretty much a veteran who I think maybe the least lucky player in the history of the game. I think he has been one game away from TI 3 times in a row and not made it. So he's hoping to change his fate this time.
It's ironic because his set, you don't have to be lucky to get it because everyone gets it for free, right? So it works out in the end. So whose lineup? We haven't really talked about this too much, but we had the Brood offlane for Zai. Like, what do you think of these lineups together? There's not a whole lot of team fight for Secret, as the panel kind of brought up. Who do you favor, just on paper?
Just overall, I like the Gambit draft a little bit better because I find it more well-rounded. Like they pointed out, there's a lot of ways of initiating fights. They have the Save of the Legion Commander. They have multiple different stuns, ways of starting. They scale well. I think their core matchups are good. We talked about Tiny. I think Troll has some good matchups here. He's good against both the Brood, and he can actually fight the Ursa because of the blind. It's a matchup that has the potential to go both ways depending on when spells get cast. Ursa can also purge off the Whirling Axis, not Wild Axis, that's another spell.
We don't want to see Wild Axis Beastmaster
Never again. It got nerfed enough that we might not see
Jenkins brought this up, and I'm glad he did because I kind of brainwashed him during the NADPC to bring this up every time there's a Troll versus Ursa. But we don't really see this item as often anymore versus when it first came out, but the Ags on Troll is kind of crazy against Ursa, where you're just constantly blinding. It's like a 4-second cooldown on Whirling Axis, and you can obviously dispel his buffs as well. So like, I don't know if we're going to see that this game. It's like probably a second item after your first farming. Like, I'm assuming a Battle Fury or something like that for the Brood. But, like, what do you think of, like, do you think not Battlefield, do you think Ags is actually, like, a legit thing? Or is it kind of a meme?
I think it's good on Troll in some games. I don't know if it's worth it here in particular, just because, yeah, it's good against Ursa, but what about the rest? Do you really need to buy this item versus getting almost like a full Skadi, Sanjinyasha, other items that have a similar price range? I personally wouldn't recommend it, but I find that a lot of the times when I watch Troll players that their builds surprise me quite a lot. So I'm not sure if I have the correct read on the hero in general of how to build it when, but definitely, like, there are paths here for him. I don't think it's, like, clear-cut what he should buy. The biggest weakness I see for Troll in this game, like, traditionally, is the Bane matchup, which is really annoying, because, like, you have these two heavy single-target counters in both Nightmare and Fiend Script, but Gambit have a solution. They've pressed the attack, which can easily enable their Troll. And
what a spell. You know, it's funny how often that spell has been buffed over the last 3. The hero is literally press the attack. The other 3 abilities are actually just whatever. You could random the other abilities, and she probably would be even more popular because you get the chance to get Ravage.
So what you're saying, if you're playing AD, just first pick press the attack.
I mean, press the attack with Shard is kind of ridiculous.
It is very, very
Second and a half immunity, pretty crazy. But yeah, I mean, they do have the Tiny like you talked about. I mean, in terms of the mid matchup, you talked about how this is Tiny favored. Are you talking about like early on? Because right now the CS is slightly in favor of Puck.
Yep. Nisha is an exceptional laner, so I I will say overall, like the lane itself will usually be even. It's more about in the game rather than lane. Matu's in trouble. Oh!
Just enough damage from BZZ. That's gonna be first blood the way of Gambit, and Puppey's gonna, well, he's gonna get some solo XP. I think he might be happy about this, Cinder.
Yeah, he's
on
like,
some level.
Thanks, Matu. He's, needs the space. Yeah, good start for Gambit overall in that lane. Obviously, the net worth is still pretty much neck and neck, but we're only 5 minutes in. And usually in this patch, I feel like the games will often have this... You will not see as often that one team gets a really big advantage in the first few minutes just because of the nature of like how the mid lane has changed with the water runes. Right. It's more easy for a lot of heroes to break even that would usually be unfavored. And in the side lanes, I think pulling is more stabilized to the extent where both teams have a relatively easy way of countering it out. So a lot of the times these lanes will go like this. And what really defines the game is what happens in the following 5 to 10 minutes when power runes start coming out and when heroes reach level 6.
Right. Well, Troll's having a pretty good time in terms of CS, though. 31-5 versus the Ursa 29-2. Basically a wash, but the panel kind of brought this up. It feels like Secret is this one team that it doesn't matter. Like, you'll look at the score and the other team will have an advantage, like even extreme advantage, like 10-2, but Secret is still out-farming them.
Yeah.
Like, what... Jenkins kind of brought up the fact it's like the supports kind of just finding farm elsewhere. Mm-hmm. Why is that so unique to Secret? We don't really see it as often from these other teams, it feels like.
It's a good question. I think what a
nice.
Sick dodge,
Very
actually.
nice. So he's going to take the Avatos, able to illusory orb to safety. Pretty low on HP, but it looks like Nisha will survive. We'll get the Arcane Rune as well.
I don't know if that dodge was on purpose. It looked like he was trying to silence before the sun came out. He jumped over it.
He's good.
If that if that would have hit, he would have died. Yeah. So pretty. We're gonna chalk that up to godlike play and not luck.
Yep.
We'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Absolutely.
That should help.
But yeah, to come back to the supports, I think usually what Secret has been doing a really great job at in the past that has enabled them to farm a lot is be very efficient about placing vision. Usually the reason other teams will have their supports more clinging onto their cores is that if you don't have very good vision and very good map awareness as a team, it's harder to have the reads of when you're safe as a core. And a lot of the times that means that defensive support or stun support or whatever will be near the cores in case of an emergency. Mm-hmm. And Secret will usually, more often than other teams, at least historically, will do a really good job at having this vision and this understanding of where movements are happening so that their cores are very independent. It does, however, also mean that in some games it really backfires. Like you'll have these disastrous Secret games where their cores are dying way too much, and that is usually how they end up losing, is their cores getting picked off in this disconnected play. Zai often being the biggest victim of this.
You've had a lot of experience with that with him on your team in the past, I'm sure. As we can see an Impale connect onto Zai, but Telekinesis is there. It's going to be enough damage for ultimate just in time for DR. Zai taking the brunt of the damage now as he attempts to get out of dodge. He's going to pop that wand. He's going to apply some more pressure to DR. It looks like he's going to go down to Zai's newly picked up ultimate. Now Immersion will take a little bit more damage, but will survive. But a big troll kill for Secret.
Yeah. Man, Spawn Spiderlings is just a spell now. It's so crazy good.
Yeah.
Since it's become that ultimate, level 1, 300 damage, 9-second cooldown nuke.
It's funny, when they changed the hero, nobody really knew. As we're going to perhaps see some action here. Nisha with a nice silence there to be able to get that haste rune. In fact, turn his sights to Immersion. There's the coil. He already used the spike carapace. He's going to dodge the Impale and Fog. Illusory Orb and a couple of right clicks should suffice. And that's going to be a nice solo kill for Nisha, as Puppey just wanted to steal some XP as per norm. But when this Broodmother was first changed, a lot of people were kind of unsure of what to expect, but it feels like it kind of plays like the old one once you get 6, and at the same time it's still way more dynamic and flexible than kind of this hero that just plays on it by itself for, you know, the entire game.
Yeah, it has more options in laning, right? The old Brood was extremely one-dimensional. Yeah,
they are squeezing in Afterlife. There's going to be a couple TPs coming in, but not in time to save their comrade as BZZ gets a nice double Impale on top of the cookie as well. But Matu is not scared of anything. BZZ is going to fall as well, so it's a 2 for nothing to start things out. And they are completely surrounding Immersion. Pops the spike carapace, but Matu and company will easily take him out. So a 3 for nothing and likely the tier 1 tower in addition.
These are just... I don't think these are the heroes you rotate to this play. If you're getting tower dove by a Brood at this point, and what was the other hero that actually started diving was the Ursa, right? Those two together just were diving in. It has to be the time you're rotating. These supports don't have the damage. You can't find the kills yet. Ursa sitting on a 1200 max health. You know the Brood has that big lifesteal. It's This is not the way you solve this pressure coming in from Secret. There's a lot of responsibility going Laurenoff's way. Maybe the idea for Gambit is we want Tiny to just sit mid until he has Dagger. But then I think it's better to just cut your losses. Rotating supports into Brood is so bad. It's really, really hard, as most of these supports in the game right now in this stage, 10 minutes in, to handle what Brood brings to the table. You saw there, especially, I think Snapfire's build is 0-2-3, which is pretty standard right now with the... You just can't kill Spiderlings. You don't have the...
Right.
You don't have Scatterblast.
What do you think of... Who was that has the EG supporter pack for Secret? Was it Nisha? Like, what do you think about that? Having a team that's not your own? That is a bit odd. You think they would be in their contract? Please use your own supporter pack.
I hope Arteezy is using the Secret one.
That would actually be perfect.
Yes.
But what do you think of Tiny as like this mid lane here? Because we've seen it before. You get this Blink Dagger, you start to snowball, and then even if you do snowball, it feels like in this patch, like you get the shard at 20, which you don't even necessarily do on this hero because you're kind of this burst damage here. You can't really, like if it's position 1, it makes sense to get the shard, right? Because you get this constant tree that you can just farm with and deal a lot of damage with, like kind of like the old no-tail build in the original OG. But like, what do you go with Tiny these days after snowballing mid if you get off to a decent start?
I think it's really game specific, and that's also part of why the hero is really powerful right now as a mid, is that you can take different routes, right? If you want to go for the carry route, like you said, you can go for a shard and a right-click build. But I think there's a lot of games where you can go for some sort of a utility spellcasting build as well. In this game, I would probably recommend looking for the best possible way of bursting supports. I don't think you man-fight the Ursa very well. And with the Brutes early game here, I'm not sure if, again, if you want to look to really bring it to Zai this early on, but gonna have to wait and see what his idea is after Dagger. I don't think he's shift queued anything else up. Matsu is currently soloing Roshan.
Yep, as Nisha gets a coil off, and it looks like the LC will take a tumble here, in addition to the very early Rosh like you talked about. It's literally a Blade of Alacrity and some lifesteal from Matu.
Yep.
So 11.5 minutes, and that primed them for, I mean, the second Rosh we talk about how important it is, but the shard on Ursa is beyond insane. Just being able to Earthshock and get the Enrage off constantly is super crazy. But I mean, this is obviously a good... Talk to me about this Ursa diffusal that we've been seeing a lot more in the last month. It used to be kind of this situational thing where, you know, against the Medusa or certain heroes you would need some catch, but we're seeing like literally every game now. What's changed?
I think a lot of the time, so what was popular a short while ago, like 2 months ago or a month ago even, was to go Battle Fierce on Yasha and just really play it as a true carry. I think by going this diffusal, you play into Ursa's other style, which is the anti-carry logic, where you're like, okay, I'm coming online earlier than you, and then I'm going to run at you. I think in this game, I'm not going to say you're going to see diffusal every game. Oh, we're going to see it
coil up again because of that arcane rune.
That did basically nothing.
Yeah, absolutely nothing. Gets a silence off, so won't get dueled as of yet. Illusory or out, but Nisha barely surviving for now, but finally the Mortimer's Kisses catch up to him. So a nice turnaround kill for Gambit, much needed.
That felt a little bit like a complete blunder. That was very surprising that he chose to go for that. Diving a Nyx in tower as Puck is very dangerous.
Yeah.
You're basically stunning yourself whenever you go. Unless you do a perfect phase shift on the coil break there, then...
He just wanted to even things up for the crazy dodge that he had earlier that you were questioning whether that was luck or not.
Yeah. He's a fair player. Diffusal Ursa... I think it's also a very good way for him to deal with Troll, right? It's also a great counter matchup.
See the tier 1 tower and the grip, but Puppey's going to continue on. The Cookie only hitting YapzOr there, so they'll get both the tower and the kill. And now DR, looks like YapzOr will sacrifice his life for the betterment of his team. Oh, we can see an Avatos. Is that a blink reveal? Not enough to kill Puppey as of yet. He's getting bottled from Nisha. Very nicely done. And it looks like with that phase shift, should be able to survive on both.
Oh, now he's in trouble. He overextended.
Yeah, and Matu with that Aegis. Afterlife is pretty freaking fast, and Coil is not quite up yet. This is going to be a long chase, perhaps. Matu finally gets the Earthshock off. And just a couple more right clicks, and down he goes. So 3K net worth lead for Secret right now. And this is exactly what they needed with this kind of line. We talked about how the team fight's not particularly amazing, but if they get off to, you know, a decent start where they can snowball, especially against a hero like Tiny that wants to snowball himself, it puts them in prime position to win this game. Man, every player on Gambit has a different supporter pack. I've seen Fnatic, I've seen OG. Where's the 4 Zoomers pack? I hear that one's pretty good. We're going to see a tier 1 or tier 2 tower taken out top now.
This is not the early game that I was expecting. I was expecting Brute to probably be able to have a pretty good start, but Secret has really just completely destroyed the first 15 minutes. Tier 2 tower down, Tier 1 tower mid down, Roche down, just recipe for running over a game. And the challenge now for Gambit is they need to find a way to group up so their heroes connect and fight together. Ideally, you want to find a kill on, I want to say, the Bane, Rubik, and the Puck. I think going on Brood is going to be too difficult. Brood has gone for a pretty standard build right now, which is to go pipe. You just make your spiders extremely strong. You're very tanky, hard to kill. And if you don't kill off Brood, you know you're fighting into that lifesteal.
Yeah.
And he's obviously going to protect his entire team as well very nicely with that pipe. So got to try to find these immediate bursts. I think if you just try to slow it down and farm here as Gambit, you're going to lose more and more of the map. You've already lost all of the top part. You know you're playing into an Aegis that is likely going to get used relatively soon by Secret as well to try to get something extra. So,
yep, Immersion. He's Vendetted up, gets the Impale off. It looks like the Avatar should be enough to take out Yapsor, but this is just a position 4. I mean, it is a greedy little boy in Yapsor position 4 as always. And we'll see if Nisha can find it. It looks like the TPs will be successful though. So they'd find that pick and get out. Oh, Afterlife in the meantime. I mean, look at the net worth right now. Before that kill, it was top 3 net worths in the game are all the cores for Secret. So things are just very much in their favor. But Troll did get that 14.5-minute Battle Fury, so he's going to start to ramp up himself. What do you think about that choice this game? And we discussed it as probably what they was going to go for.
Yeah. I definitely think it's the right call. The way Gambit's lineup works is a lot more built around this hyper carry later on, and the other heroes are going to make space and look to fight for him. The fights haven't really gone the way Gambit wanted, so this doesn't look
This
as
will be
good.
a big... Oh, Nisha choosing the right 50-50 there. And I mean, since Lorenev's gotten this Blink Dagger, he's found, I think, 1 kill on a support. So hasn't been exactly what he's been looking for. And it feels like when you play the mid-tiny, you go for that Blink Dagger build, which, again, for mid-tiny is very normal. You need to be getting these kills, like, semi-consistently to be able to snowball.
Yeah. It's definitely not the pace that you're looking for. And I think a big part of the reason that he's struggling to find kills is that they lost these top towers, right? Like, when you lose so much control over the map and you see what vision Secret has, even if it's just this 1 ward deep in the enemy jungle at the top half, they have so much information about where the rest of the team must be, right? You can rule them out half of the map based on duel.
We have a duel.
That's a win.
Aegis is now gone.
Oh, perfect
that is a
timing.
huge kill for Gambit. And
Very
BZZ
nice.
survives on top of that. Wow. That was very close timing as well.
Yeah, that was super well done. And I will say, you know, I like talking about this a lot when we look at strategy and we look at like gold, because a lot of the times people will just refer to the gold and then be like, oh, this team has a gold lead, therefore they're ahead in the game. It's very game specific how big a 4K gold lead is, right?
True.
Like, yeah, you have this 4K gold lead, but what is it going into? It's a Brood with pipe. This will fall off against these heroes. Eventually, Troll and Tiny are going to pack a punch, right? It's really good right now, but are you converting it into something more meaningful going forward where you can truly contest this Troll? Because, like the panel talked about, you know, it's an Ursa going Diffusal. He's going to get out-farmed by Troll with Battle Fury, right? So if you keep up the pace, you really need to keep map controlling.
Oh my.
Those spiders died to a tree toss.
They sure did, and I think the FPS also took a huge drop as a result.
It's all good.
Intended, still in beta, but it's all good. BZZ, his career shall survive the day. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it's not only net worth, but XP difference is also a stat that we don't really get to see all too often.
From Immersion.
Spike Airpace into the Avatos. Not enough for Nisha to die as of yet, but soon after he does. It's a 1-for-1 is in the back line. Zai was taking somebody out, and there's the Fiend's Grip onto Lorenov. That's going to be enough to take him out as well. And here we have the duel. It's not going to be enough to actually get a kill for Afterlife this time around. And the Nightmare into the double Impale to follow. Matu just continuing to go ham. There's the telekinesis, and that's going to be another kill going the way of Secret. Almost a full team wipe after losing their Puck, who didn't even use Coil.
That looked like there was going to be such a great fight for Gambit, but he got mana burned on Troll. He couldn't get ulti off. They got the catch on Tiny that there was no counter for. I guess press the attack must have been on cooldown. I think it's pretty important here for Afterlife to reserve this for Fiend's Grip, actually. It's the one solution that they really have.
It's true.
And Puppey, he managed to find himself in a great position. He doesn't have lens yet, but he was still able to get that full duration off. And
not only that, but Yapsor setting everything up with the double Impale that was stolen.
yes, very nice.
I mean, this is something we just expect to see from Yapsor when he picks up his Rubik.
For sure. And obviously this is a big part of what Brood does, right? You are, even though you do get this honestly great puck kill. Oh,
Goodbye, BZZ.
He is very dead.
That was a long-range attack there from Matu.
It was melee.
Okay, that was a Monkey King melee right there.
Diffusal gives 200 attack range.
Oh, okay. That wasn't in the patch notes, but it makes sense now.
That's why people pick it up, right?
I see. Yeah. Just a hidden mechanic there. Beautiful.
Yeah, there's been a couple of those in this patch so far. It's like a shard. Oh, it gives less cooldown on webs. Interesting. I did not know this. So yeah. Now Secret have a very, very comfortable lead. That was such a big moment for them. Basically a 5k gold advantage gained from that fight alone. And a really, really big part of it is just that you're fighting into Brood on Brood's territory, right? You found the puck kill, but Brood got to get the wraparound, get a quick kill, and the pipe did come into play quite a lot there for the team as well. So really crucial for Gambit. I think right now
Afterlife has the Secret supporter pack. He's playing against them. Is this a mind game that we're playing here?
He likes the opponents. He wants to join Team Secret. This is a trial game for him.
I see.
Oh, good smoke break here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Immersion.
I believe Roche is up now, so Matu can take that pretty much anytime he wants. Oh, not yet.
It's very, very soon to spawn.
By very soon means 2 minutes. Yep. I mean, you can cook rice fat in that time.
In the grand scheme of
America,
in the grand scheme of a lifetime, it is very, very soon.
That's true. The whole lifetime's a blink of an eye, really.
Yeah.
Right, Blink Dagger on Yapzor. I mean, this position for Rubik continues to... I mean, would you say that he's gotten greedier over time, the same, or less greedy?
Less greedy.
Really?
Actually, yeah.
Wow. What did it take for him to see the light?
A threat with the machete.
I see. That's puppy style for sure, no doubt. Okay.
I need gold, Yapzor. Yes, sir.
Uh-oh, Immersion. Looks like Troll will get out. Immersion actually does have Vendetta, so...
That would have been a great, great pick for Secret. I mean, they're obviously very comfortable right now, but that is the kill they want to find.
Courier Snipe. Oh, they see him, puppy, with the Nightmare. Vendetta stolen from Yapzor. That'll come in handy, and there's a Fiend's Grip, and this will be eventually an easy kill.
Bonk.
Oh, he actually uses the Vendetta just for that strike. Thought he'd use that for scouting or something. I guess they didn't have enough damage to kill him outright. So Troll Warlord does go for the 5 fervor attack speed talent, which kind of indicates to me, like we were kind of talking about the potential for Ags. You rarely go for that talent if you're going Ags. The 9 Warling Axes is like pretty much required, I feel like.
For sure.
But he does have SNY and the Battlefield as we talked about, so BKB next, and that's when he's in real fighting shape.
Yeah. It makes you wonder if going this SNY was really worth it, right? Because if you get this item and you can't fight with it immediately and you're losing map control, you're basically, now you're starved, right? You're waiting for this BKB, but you only control, I want to say, being generous, probably 30% of the map. So if you imagine this SNY being a BKB now, maybe you could make a smoke move and try to take that fight that brings you back into the game and then get a key item off of that.
Right.
Right now, I'm a little bit worried for Gambit that Secret's map control in this previous fight is just going to, they're just going to keep snowballing. This should be the second Roche with Aegis Cheese and Shard. Probably give the Shard to Ursa.
Oh, yeah.
Other possible Shard pickups?
I mean, you have the AoE Brain Sap. You have Rubik's Telekinesis, which is considered one of the worst in the game, apparently.
You could give it to Brood. The mischance on Bola is actually very good against Troll and Tiny.
AoE Silken Bola. Yeah, it's pretty solid.
But Matu will use it looks like.
I mean, I just think Ursa's is literally, if I was making a tier list, it would be top 5. I don't even have to look at other heroes right now. But then again, Legion Commander is also on that list. So, of course, that's the other team. So they're not going to get an Aegis in all likelihood, based on how this game is going. I mean, it's a 10k lead for Secret right now. Matu, obviously, with that Aegis, still has the cheese in his backpack as well. And they look pretty primed and ready to go. Like, the longer this game goes, obviously it's going to be better for the Troll Warlord who went for this farming build. As see some aggression here. Looks like the duel will be successful. The coil's going to keep everything in place, but it's not enough to keep Zai alive. So a big duel victory there for Gambit. Looks like they'll trade off one. Nightmare.
Yo, puppy, wake him up.
Fiend's Grip.
He can't wake up.
Yeah, he's still sleeping. Hibernating is the bear. It looks like that might just break things up. And, well, I say that now, but Matu's very aggressive. Has the Aegis, obviously, so not too scared of anything right now. Pops the Enrage, but not able to find anybody in the end. So still a good trade there for Gambit. I mean, a support for Zai, who is, I mean, top 3 overall in net worth for the game.
It was their first Brood kill, 24 minutes.
Yeah.
And they even have heroes that can find it, right? They have the Nyx to scout and try to find the Brood in the jungle, and they have these burst heroes with the tiny Snapfire ult. but they just haven't managed until now.
I mean, it's interesting because it was a first 2 pick Brood, right? So it's not like it was a surprise. And I've seen this in other DPC regions as well, where like, okay, they dare you to counter. If you counter it, then maybe you overdo it to some point, and then you have another weakness in your draft. If you're just going for the Brood, like, it's interesting how different this hero actually is based on all the changes that were made.
It really does feel like when you think back to 20 minutes ago that what really set off Brood on this path was the 2 TPs top from the supports that he just got to eat under the
tier
tower.
1 tower. Yeah.
If that is a tiny TP, I think the entire trajectory of the game looks really different. So that is what is so challenging about playing against Brood right now, is that when the pressure kicks in, it's so fast and it's really hard. So you really, really need to find these correct moves. Brood can look really weak if it gets hit correctly, but the exact set of conditions that you need to meet and do it correctly, if you fail that once or twice, this is the kind of state that you can very easily find yourself in. So Secret being a very good aggressive team, they will know when to find these movements and play around their Brood, and they did it top.
Dust actually does connect on Immersion, but looks like he's far enough away. I mean, I want to talk a little bit more about Lorinov on the Tiny. We kind of discussed the fact that this hero is Immersion, will be found, at least for the time being, but now out of vision. I mean, he's kind of tapered off, right? This hero, it feels like if you're not getting these kills, you start to really pay the consequences of picking this type of hero, which feels like there's only one way to gain traction in the early stages of the game before you can actually, you know, potentially turn into a carry type hero. As Snapfire,
toast.
Goodbye.
Oh, they found Nyx too.
Yeah, Nightmare keeps him in place. There's the shard from Afterlife, but the Fiend's Grip to follow, and they're just going to have to sacrifice their little bug friend. And this will likely be a tier 2 tower as well. And Aegis still got a couple minutes to go, so...
In all fairness, though, there are a lot of mid-heroes that will look relatively weak when you lose the map that hard. Like, they lost so much map control so quickly, and they really needed... Oh my goodness. Matsu's relentless.
Yeah, forces to press the attack.
I mean, counterpunch.
They don't have the best building hitters other than really Brood, who's typically kind of on her own. But they do have a major advantage right now. I mean, it's 10K net worth at 26 minutes. That's pretty freaking large. Looks like Matu's going for the old basher next. Still has, I mean, it's the full BKB still, 9 seconds. I mean, if you look at his farm, like his items, they're not that impressive, right? But it doesn't really matter at this stage. I mean, Troll's out-farming everybody, technically speaking. We're just not feeling the impact yet. Still less than a minute to go on the Aegis. See if Gambit can time this again.
Yeah, they do have that BKB timing of Troll, which really needs to pay off here with that 9-seconder. They will find an opening here.
Yeah, Matu gets stunned with Spike Carapace. Cookie's going to keep Immersion alive for now. Matu very low on mana. He kind of wants to die here. He's going to pop the Enrage. And DR gets pressed the attack. Looks like he'll be safe for now into the high ground. The Spider's being farmed up in the meantime, but they'll find the Nyx Assassins, buy back into the game immediately. Lorinov not able to take anybody out with the Avatos. We'll have to try to get out of dodge here. And now Troll getting chased by Matu. Press the attack again used to try to keep him alive. In the meantime, we're seeing yet another kill on the backside. As Secret just continuing the pressure here. Another 12 seconds on the Aegis. We'll see how close they've timed this, but my goodness, Troll out of nowhere. No press the attack available that time around. That'll be the death of him. So 60 seconds on the deck, no buyback. And now the Aegis will be taken, but the cheese is still there, I do believe, although I think he just passed it off from Zai, looks like.
Yeah, the Secret are just outclassing them. Gambit look a bit lost in these fights, right? You see this Tiny jumping in and finding 2 supports, but there's literally nobody connecting with him. They're not on the same page. The Mortimer Kisses miss basically entirely. Legion is spending the entire fight keeping Troll safe so he can run away. He didn't hit a hero, I think. He was just running for his life the whole time. Don't want to fight into the Aegis. And yeah, it's...
The toss into the Impale under the tier 3 towers. Duel is there as well. Do they have enough damage to actually take him out? But the Nightmare save for now. He will die, but no duel damage goes the way of Gambit. But they've taken heavy damage as a result of this. Looks like Secret will respect this, though, and fall back. A nice Avatos combo there, getting him out of position.
That's the kind of thing you would like to see from Gambit, right? That they really combine their spells. And it's obviously easier to do in your own base when you have a Tiny. But I've been missing that a little bit in their team fights, that it feels like, okay, Tiny is connecting with someone. Like you have a toss, you Mortimer Kisses on top of it. Maybe you find a duel, maybe you find a Nyx stun, whatever it is, so that you pile onto something and build some sort of an advantage in the beginning. Oh, that's a very easy kill. Yep. Script.
Easy peasy. That's true. We haven't really seen, like, Mortimer Kisses hasn't really had much of an effect because it feels like he needs to be up close to get the Snapfire cookie for the save.
But I think that's the wrong approach to take it. I think Cookie should not be considered his primary spell in this game. You have enough other stuns that your ulti is your primary contribution to the fight.
Right.
And the moment you go in to try to use Lil Shredder, I think you're just going to die to Brood. Like, it's a really annoying matchup for Snapfire to play because once the spiders are on top of you, you don't really have a solution. Usually Snapfire supports don't max out Scatter Blast, so the spiders will just stay on you. You try to Cookie away, they're faster than you. You can't stun them because they're on top of you. You just very easily get swarmed. So I think the best way to play Snap here is put Solar Crest on your troll, walk back, and press your ult. And then when the fight develops, maybe you can find a cookie for bonus kills or for a save, but it's not going to work as your primary spell against these heroes.
Yeah, and I feel like from a draft perspective, I mean, again,
That's the shard.
On who?
On Bane.
Bane Elemental Shard. Don't get to see this all too often, so it's the AoE Brain Sap. I believe the AoE portion doesn't heal for full, and if I'm not mistaken, does it do full damage or is it less damage as well?
Full damage.
Oh,
heals for
good.
Heals for a quarter though.
Yeah, we're gonna see the Avatos. Not quite enough, but the duel should be there. It's finally a winner for Afterlife.
This could be good for them.
Potential big kill on Nisha. He's gonna get trolled here, as Troll actually popped his ult, and now that's gonna leave Nisha completely free to get out. But now the pressure is applied to Zai. Looks like he'll get away as Matu pops the BKB. Now Troll attempting to get out. Looks like Lorna might have to be, the cookie will be used on him instead. And again, it just feels like this whole game, Gambit is on the retreat in their own base. They do survive though. Oh, I speak too soon here. Press the attack on Immersion with the Spike Carapace combination. There's the tree toss killing a bunch of spiders. All right.
Well, they got out of it.
Yeah, they sure did.
Not sure if they're fully happy with that though. That looked like a potential opening on the puck, but Troll did not manage to get enough damage in there. They didn't have enough stuns left in the tank after the first kill on Puppy. But they do survive. And we do see the value of the BKBs, right? Like, that is definitely kills for Ursa if they don't pop these BKBs to run out. But obviously the duration dropping is something Secret are going to be very happy about. Makes their puck a lot better. And I do believe this Aghanims on puck should be underweight. No, he's not even going to buy that. That's kind of surprising. I feel like this is a really good Aghs game.
He's going E-Blade. My good. I mean, that's obviously a great
Also
save
good.
against Duel and any target that Troll's going for. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. But yeah, still odd not to see the Aghs for all that BKB piercing ability, of course.
When you're playing against a team that spends 90% of the fight running away, it's really good to have an item that counters running away. So
That's true.
I just think it's a great synergy with Ursa to have the Aghs in particular, because he takes so much advantage of people being stunned, even if they're BKB'd. He just mauls them, right?
Yeah.
So that is a great carry to have on the side of an Aghs coil. But you can definitely see the merit for E-Blade as well. I think both items are good in their own right.
I think perhaps the way they're thinking is they're winning this game. The only way they can lose is some crazy duel on top of Snapfire ult where they just delete your hero. So E-Blade, in theory, counters that. Well, not the Snapfire ult. But then again, he hasn't been using his Snapfire ult all too effectively so far.
Right. I guess their logic right now is the enemy team, it's only Troll that is really going to be an issue.
Right.
And we solved that guy with that item. But you have to be a little bit careful. Like, yeah, there's the Snapfire ult, but it's also if you E-Blade someone, Tiny Combo hurts. And
Oh, yeah.
you give the Nyx a really strong mana burn. Like, let's say you E-Blade yourself as Puck, that mana burn hurts. It's like 800 damage.
Yep, that's true.
So, got to be a little bit wary.
I mean, if this game was going to go any later, which I'm not sure it will, Nullifier would be a great item for Troll to counter that as well. There's literally no counter to Nullifier. You ever think about, like, Lincoln's, I guess, is the only thing. It's actually crazy how much they've micro-buffed this item over
BKB.
time. Well, you use it before that. It doesn't take it off. Nothing takes it off anymore. Well, Immersion gets jumped for the time being, but there's the coil onto 3 heroes. They're stuck inside, but the right clicks, and there's the Nightmare, or the Fiend's Grip, I should say. Gets tossed into the fray, though. Pops his ult, doing a lot of damage. Matu trying to reset. Looks like Puppy's going to resign to his own death here. He's going to be the first to fall. Enrage popped. Looks like Zai's trying to work his way around the outside of this fight here. Cheese is popped by Matu. And the stacks are starting to get overwhelming, no pun intended, onto the Troll Warlord, and that's going to be an easy kill. They just outlast them. The farm differential is too big. 16k net worth. This should be, at the very least, a set of racks.
That was a key cheese. I think without the cheese, Gambit actually win this fight. But Matu able to obviously fully reset, and Secret taking the fight knowing that they have this advantage, right? I think that was the best fight we saw out of Gambit the whole game. It really felt like they're connecting on something here. They managed to counter out the grip. It took a little bit of time, but that's an extra kill. Afterlife is not getting out of this one.
Yep, super dead. And there's only one buyback. Of course, the timers aren't crazy long, but see what else they go for here. If they go for the tier 4, I mean, they do have a bunch of spiders, so there's definitely potential. They pop the pipe. And looks like they'll go for the safe route here.
Why did he pipe?
Just for fun. It looks cool.
Right,
you know, very green.
Yeah. You're damn right about that. It is green. All right, 2 lanes. I think Secret, if they knew there were no buybacks, they would have probably entered the game there. But playing it safe, getting 2 sides. Probably going to back off after that.
I mean, they don't even have a tier 1 bot yet. That's kind of crazy. You can tell that Zai has not been on that half of the map the entire game. But 2 racks for Secret. And they can, I mean, we'll see how disciplined they want to be. I mean, we talked about this before, and the panel kind of brought it up as, oh, Roche is up, actually. So what is in Roche today? What are the goodies we have? Is this a Refresher Shard or an Aghanim Scepter?
It is. Dun, dun, dun.
Please be Ags. Thank goodness.
It is the Scepter.
So Matu Ags is pretty good, as he will eat it. So that'll give him the Enrage cooldown reduction, and you can use it while you're disabled, which is insane. I mean, they have some pretty good Ags on their team. I mean, we talked about how Puck didn't even buy one. That actually would have been the best, probably, to give up. There's the Avatos.
All right, they got that hill real bad.
That thing got absolutely wrecked. Now the chase is on Gambit. Feels like the whole game they kind of have to do this. Tiny is this hero that just wants to go in and out, especially when you build this way. There's a defusal on the BZZ. Looks like he is mega dead. Oh, there's the Yules to save him for now, but the coil will keep. It's just for his BZZ. That's all they want. Oh, okay, press the attack. I mean, eventually he's gonna die.
Nice cookie.
He's styling on Secret right now, but it's not enough, sadly. All right, so 30K net worth lead for Secret. Look primed and ready with that Aegis, with the cheese, with the Eaton Ags.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good on Ursa this game, right? It's in a way, it's kind of like having the cheese indirectly, because if you get stun chain now, you can enrage and pop Satanic.
Yeah.
Enrage Satanic BKB. There's no silences, so it's pretty much guaranteed. I don't see Gambit killing this guy in any possible way, basically. They need to do some crazy toss back, force his cooldowns, hold him down forever, and then...
I mean, how often do we see a 36-minute game and they've roached 3 times already? That's pretty awesome.
That's one of the things Ursa does.
Yeah, I mean, the panel talked about potential level 1 roaches, which sadly aren't a thing anymore, which we've talked about this before. I understand why it's not a thing, but for the viewers, it was a lot of fun.
I think there is a way to find a healthy balance where you can level 1 Roche and it's not like totally game-breaking and also not terrible.
Yeah, right now it's just not worth it. Even if you can do it, it's super not worth it. All right, tower taken out. Snapfire ult already used as Matu just pounding on these racks.
Hey guys, you're getting megged.
Yep, Solar Crest applied. He's going to be very difficult. Now he's Satanic along with the Aegis and the Ags like we talked about. Pops the Enrage early because the cooldown is super low, has absolutely no mana to speak of, but they do no damage to this bear. Press the attack applied to Troll, but eventually this rack shall fall. That will be Megas for Secret, and I believe we're going to have one more fight before the GGs come out. They're going to fight under their tier 3 towers. Matu, he's getting pretty low, still has the Satanic, of course, and the Enrage. He's going to get tossed, not into Fountain, but into the arms of the Troll Warlord. Fiend's Grip will stop the attacking, and that last right click for Matu is more than enough. Buyback onto the next Assassin, but Troll Warlord has absolutely nothing to work with. Still dead for 80 seconds. Toss. There we're seeing the duel into the Fountain. He gets it! Unreal! But they still lose, sadly. As the Fountain farming commences. My favorite thing in Dota, of course. It's a great feature.
Love this.
No, this is fine. If it's a little like diving here and there, but farming is different than diving. You know what I mean? Farming requires like 2 minutes of time invested into your Fountain.
Is there a pro team in Dota that never says GG until the throne falls?
I'm sure there's plenty. But they actually disconnect. Maybe we have them muted.
Because if that is the case, what do you think the public